Folks, why are we so crazy about real estate? I'll tell you what I mean and then get into the latest home prices and insights for York Region for week ending August 7th, 2024. I was taking an Uber the other day and I struck up a conversation with the driver. Nice guy. He was from Turkey. He had been here for just a couple of years. So I said, how do you like Canada so far? And his response was, Canada's great. Just two things really surprised me. And he said, one, we work way too hard here. And I said, yeah, I can see that. And then he said, now keep in mind, he had no idea that I'm a realtor. He had no idea what I do for a living. And he goes, number two, you Canadians are so crazy about real estate. Everywhere I turn on TV, passengers getting into my car, they're talking about real estate. Even my own family's putting pressure on me now to buy a house. I just can't afford it yet. Why are you guys so crazy about real estate? I kind of chuckled a little bit and I thought, I said, for as far as I can remember, going way back to when I was a kid, I remember my parents living in with my dad's parents, so they were with my grandparents. We spent many years as a young child living with my grandparents, and my parents were just always talking about saving up money to buy a home. And then they did, and we bought it. My parents bought our own home. I say our own home like I had something to do with it, but they bought the home and they spent weekends, summers, all the time just updating and renovating because all they could afford was an older home that needed a ton of work. And that was our family home. No vacations, no fancy cars. It was always about paying off the mortgage, and that was it. Now, the mentality, as far as I can remember, has always been, you get married, buy a house. That was it. Everything's about buying a house. You got to live somewhere. You either rent or you buy a house. And the cost of renting, you might as well pay a mortgage. That's kind of always been the idea out there. Now, today, things have changed a little bit. It's about, not staying in your house so long. The whole idea of paying off a mortgage is, it's just not there for a lot of people. It's more about how long can I enjoy this before prices go up and then I can buy another house with the appreciation. That's a whole different mentality. And it's about owning multiple homes for many people today. It's a different mindset, but it's still about real estate and owning property. So yeah, Canadians are crazy about real estate. That was my answer. That's just, it's always been that way. And most Canadians feel it's their safest bet and they understand it. They may get it wrong, as we see a lot, especially in the market we're in now. People have made some pretty bad purchase decisions. They've made some bad financing decisions, but they understand buying a property. They understand it versus, say, investing in stocks or something else that's a bit more intangible. Canadians understand it, and since we're born, that's what our parents talk about. Buy, 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 buy. Tell me what you think. If somebody said to you, why are you Canadians so crazy about real estate? What would your response be? Let me know in the comments below. If you think this video can help somebody you know, please pass it along. If you get value from what we're talking about, subscribe. And if you want to speak with me about your real estate situation, it's really simple. There's a link up here to my calendar. In the description below, there's a link to my calendar. Click on that, book a time that's convenient for you, and we'll talk about whatever's on your mind. Now, let's get into the numbers. Here we go, folks. We're going to take a close look at York Region. We're only focused on detached properties. These are average sold price. Specifically, we're looking at Richmond Hill, Vaughan, Markham, detached properties. This is average sold prices only for 3 months. And when I put a box where we were 3 months ago, which was week ending May the 8th, and I put a box around where we are now, week ending August the 7th, the big difference in average sold prices, we're in 3 months much slower than what we were 3 months ago. We're going to start off with Vaughan detached properties for week ending August the 7th. 12 detached properties were sold. You heard me right, 12. That's it. Just 12 detached properties. 3 of those were at $2 million or more. Sales, I've put it's trending down if we kind of go back to the middle or beginning of June. Yeah, I would still say it's trending down, but for a few weeks it was pretty steady in the low mid 20s. I put a star here just to remind everybody that week ending August the 7th, there was a long weekend in the middle of that. Now, seasonally speaking, sales do trend down this time of year. There are fewer showings, there are fewer offers, there are fewer listings. Like everything just tends to kind of slow down seasonally this time of year. The long weekend just seems to exaggerate that a bit more. So we went from 23 sales to 12 for week ending August the 7th. Average sold price came down over the previous week to $1,709,000. I don't see average sold price changing all that much, however, over the span of the last 3 months. Sorry, I don't see average sold price changing that much over the span of the last little while. But over the span of 3 months, it has come down quite a bit. Compared to last year, 1709 is 17% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 3% lower. And here's what I mean. When you look at the 4-week moving average, it's kind of up and down. The median price, though, which I would say is probably a little bit more accurate just because of the whole nature of the median price, it does show prices trending down. So you could get the high and the low affecting the overall. And when sales are this slow, a high price and a low price, the outliers, will affect the overall price. Median tends to be more accurate in this situation. 12 were sold. Not many, 8% sold at list price or more. 45 were listed. Listings are trending down. Now the orange, those are listings for this year. The blue, that's for last year. You can see that we're listing way more properties this year than what we listed last year. Active listings are increasing. By active listings, what we mean are properties available for sale. So these are new listings. Active listings are, well, how many are actually there? They could have been listed two weeks ago, 2 months ago. They're still for sale. When I'm a new buyer and I'm looking at properties, I get to see all the available inventory, not just the new listings. Well, there's lots. 473 were listed. If I go back to the sales, only 12 were sold. Weeks before that, it was 22 and 23 that every week people are buying. But there's close to 500 available for sale. Big difference. Lots of choices. Months of inventory has been trending up. This 1 week that we're in shot up to 9.1 months of inventory because those sales are so low. Here's Richmond Hill. 12. Again, so 12 in Vaughan were sold. 12 in Richmond Hill were sold. 4 of those were at $2 million or more. Average sold price just under $1.8 million. It's at $1,794,000. 1,794 is 13% lower than where we were this time a year ago. The median price is 2% higher than where we were this time a year ago. 8% of the 12 sold at list price or more. Listings trending down. Active listings was trending up, but it's kind of slowing down a little bit. It's a little bit lower, not by much. Months of inventory trending up. We're now at 7.6 months of inventory. Pretty much a buyer's market. Here's Markham, 13. Is that the record for this week? We went 12. 13 detached properties were sold in Markham. 2 of those were at $2 million or more. Average price down from the previous week to $1,608,000. 1,608 is 17% lower year over year. Now that's not typical. If you kind of look back, we're 3% lower, 3% higher, 1%. Markham has done pretty good of kind of being on par to where prices were a year ago, especially over the last month or two. But, you know, at the price we are now, we're 17% lower. Median price is 9% lower year over year. Of the 13 that sold, 31% sold at list price or more. 57 were listed. Active listings is increasing. There's 369 available detached properties for sale. And months of inventory, we were hovering in the high 3s to 4. We're now at 6.6 months of inventory. But again, that's the long weekend week. I would say that I would rely more on we're probably hovering around the 4 months of inventory in Markham. Here's a quick summary. No matter where you look, it's a buyer's market when it comes to detached properties. That's for this week's number. I would say be careful about putting too much stock into a week that had a long weekend, and over the next little while, we're going to see. But we do expect August to be a little bit more quiet, a little bit more seasonal. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.